Oh, darn it. Well, I was going to crawl over to my door, walk in, like this. Oh, well, I did it anyways. Just have to figure out some wacky Rube Goldberg machine to press that button for me when I'm all the way over there. Now, this episode, I think this could be part of a series, the beginning of a series called Stories. Don't worry, I'll come up with a better name later. Later. Much later. Sometime in the far, far future later. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually not all that bad at not procrastinating. But you see, this series would be me telling interesting stories from the past 13 years of my life. Oops. I'm going to be telling a particularly interesting story. Now you might see me. I'm in a school that is creating a curriculum that reprograms the way that the education at his own school works, talks with particularly advanced grammar, since he comes from England, and isn't the kind of person that would be associated, but you know what? You are wrong. And my hair being the way it is actually really bugging me right now. Get down on the ground, hair! I don't want to look like Trump. I mean, come on. No, that's better. No. So, just recently I went to this summer camp. How exotic, am I right? And that was the first time I was really, truly launched into the air. And you see, they had this man-made pond there. They took water from a river and put it there through piping. But that's not what's important. What's important is what you could do on that pond. You could swim. You could canoe. You could fish. Or you could blob. And I've seen that blob before. The last time I went to that camp at a different location, they had a blob there, I believe. And this is Camp Dakota, for any of you who want to go there. And basically the blob is, let's say the bottom of the screen is the lake. This bullet. Yeah, this fired bullet, don't ask me why I have a fired bullet that I keep around. It's a long story for another day. So let's say we have this bullet, and this is the size of... No. This isn't the right size. It's the size of the pond. If this is the size of the pond in its entirety, then I think that the size of the blob would be something like... one moment, please. Something like... Let me use my hand. Like this big. Let's say this isn't the entire pond, but let's say this is about... Don't forget this whole measurement thingy. The blob, I'd say it was about 7 or 6 feet tall, and I'd say like 15 feet long. It's about the size of 3 school buses, tightly parked, tightly together. Yeah, that's about how big it was. 3 long school buses, not short mini school buses. And this blob, it wasn't particularly bouncy on its own, but it had this staircase thing floating on a big block of wood in the water that went up above it, like to height about little less than let's say like a quarter of the blob's height above the blob. Then you jump onto it, and there'd be somebody on the end of the blob the end facing out into the water, and the sudden pressure on that end of the blob would push more air to the other end of the blob and thus launch the other person 5-10 feet above the blob. And I jumped down on somebody, or maybe I didn't. I don't think I did. Then I crawled along, being burnt by the plasticky and helium-inflated blob that sat like a sock floating upon the lake. Pond, not lake. Until I reached the end, where I sat quite comfortably. I crossed my legs. What could go wrong, right? I was expecting to go like 5 feet in the air, but you know what? That just wasn't the way it was gonna go. You know how I told you that the blob was about 3 long school buses big? Well, as long as the blob was, let's say you took that blob, made it hover in the air, you turned it on its side. So one end was in the air, one end was facing towards the water. And then you place and then you park a school bus on top of that. That's about how high in the air I went from the top of that blob. I'd say about 20, 25, maybe even 30 feet off the water surface. You can imagine how startled I was. I was like, this is my thought process. This is going well. They're counting down from seed here. Oh, wait a minute. Just how high am I going to go? Oh my goodness. That's tiny down there. Wait a minute. What goes up must come down. Oh no. I didn't actually scream or anything. I was just saying that's my thought process. There was just a few split seconds of bliss where it was peacefully hovering there in the air. I was at one with the sky. You really ought to try it sometime, all of you at home, if you are that kind of thrill seeker. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, and just remember to let me know in the comments below if you have any particularly interesting stories like this one that I have just told that you would like to share with me and the other people in the comments section. And there probably won't be many of you. But it always pays to be optimistic. This is Matthew C. Out. Damn it, that pillow keeps on falling.